We have a bit of a break from regular Rooster Teeth content, so we're going to catch up a bit with some of the biggest news in the world of Rooster Teeth. We're going to talk about Genlock, Achievement Hunters Hardcore Tabletop, and as a look forward to RWBY Volume 6, we're going to be talking about the manga anthology Volumes 1 and 2, as well as giving away Volume 3. Don't go anywhere, it's all happening right now on Rooster Teeth Reviews.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome everybody into Rooster Teeth Reviews right here as a part of AfterBuzz TV Animation. Tonight, we're catching up on some of our favorite happenings from the past couple of months. I'm joined by my fellow hosts, Megan Salinas.
Hey everybody.
Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hello.
Katie Cullen.
Hi all my buddies.
And I'm Mark V. Donica. We've been in hardcore series mode since RTX, and we haven't talked at all about some of the biggest news that has come since then and all of the various conventions here and there. So let's freak out about it now, shall we? Let's talk about some Genlock.
Yeah.
Just some general chicanery.
Genlock.
Oh my G. We got a lot of casting announcements. Three of the big, actually no, the three main ones that we got were, first, we got Game of Thrones star Maisie Williams playing Cammy MacLeod, a mischievous Scottish hacker, and the youngest recruit of the Genlock program. We have her character art right there as soon as we bring it up. Either way, we had a little bit of a preview of her in the trailer. Initially, I was really sad that we weren't going to get hardcore Scottish David Tennant. And then with the announcement of Maisie joining the cast and hearing a little bit of what her character has to offer, all of that went away. What do y'all think about this announcement?
Well, now we get hardcore Scottish Maisie Williams. This was absolutely wonderful, and I am beyond excited.
Hacker Arya Stark is something I never knew I always wanted.
I love her already.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
I can imagine, even though I can imagine this being a bit more, maybe like a PG-13, not necessarily. I would love the hard R version of this character personally, or maybe to the point where she has her own censoring program, because when I think Scottish, I think cursing, and she seems just a little ornery already to be in the program. I'm beyond excited that she's involved. Before this, we're like, Michael B. Jordan, that's me. David Tennant, what the hell are you? Blaine Gibson,
Miles Luna. When I realized that this had really, really hit the big time was when I saw some of my friends on one of my social networks who knew nothing about Rooster Teeth talking about it, talking about them getting David Tennant and Maisie Williams specifically. And then I kind of popped in with, yeah, they also have this person, this person, this person, and that person, and this is kind of how they got them. Like, here's all the info we have. And they're like, you knew about this? Yeah, I forget that this is a big thing outside of Rooster Teeth circles.
Wednesdays at 7 p.m. I have this. What are you talking about? But in researching all of the biggest headlines, I found one with Miles where he talked about the entire spec process was just, Michael B. Jordan, whatever. And then somebody went, why don't you just see if he wants to be involved? And he came back with, yeah.
Didn't they have a wish list? And then casting got the wish list and went, okay.
And it did it.
Magic. And I also sort of imagine Michael B. Jordan just having a to-do list in terms of acting roles he wants. And like at the top of that list was star in my own mecha anime. And so he gets the call from Rooster Teeth and just goes, and check.
There we go.
Cancel all my appointments. I'm going to be in a giant robot boy show.
In chat, Please Clap says, in an interview, Gray said Cammy has by far the foulest mouth in the show.
Yes!
Grab the link for that interview and throw it in our hashtag, please. I'd love to see that.
It was probably the one with Geeks of Color. We reposted that when it was from New York Comic Con. So
Okay.
go and check out our Geeks of Color, friend of the show, Belinda. Hope you're watching and listening.
They do good work, and we love them.
Yeah.
Next star of the show, go ahead and use that top one. Yep, that one. We have Asia Kate Dillon, who is voicing Valentina Val Romanizin, a former Ukrainian covert agent who thought they were done with fighting. Dillon's most known for their roles in Orange is the New Black and by being the first lead non-binary character in a lead role on the television show Billions. they're a wonderful actor. All of the press that they've done for Billions just brought them even higher on the map for me. And even some of the little bit of Billions that I've seen, they're a great performer.
I can't say I'm familiar with any of their work, but I'm just it's a fantastic resume to be sure, but I'm also just looking at the character design and I'm like, I love this. Everything about this is amazing.
Yeah, and just the little bit that we got in the trailer was fantastic. Like, we didn't get a lot for many of the characters in the most recent trailer, but the tiny little bits we got were just like, oh, yes, please, when's the full episode? When can I watch all of you for 22 minutes every Saturday? There's no way episodes are going to be 22 minutes long every Saturday, but
Katie,
I can dream.
That was the full episode. We already got it.
Ah, damn.
Surprise.
Well, what do you think, Stace?
Oh man, I want the full episodes too. All of it, just.
Well, I'm happy we, in terms of our next casting announcement, I'm super happy that we finally had an actress to put to Yaz, who's been who was the second main character in the second pilot announced, and it's Golshifteh Farhani, who is well, in terms of Yaz, a talented and confident recruit from Iran who finds her calling in the Genlock program, but won't open up easily about her past. Farhani, she's done a lot of work overseas. She's a musician, she's a singer, she's an actress. The only stuff that we would recognize her in, she was in Body of Lies with Leonardo DiCaprio. She was the witch in the most recent Pirates of the Caribbean that was friends with.
Oh, that was her.
Yes, she was
Okay.
the bald with all of the art.
Okay,
Yeah.
she was friends with Barbossa.
Yes, friends with Barbossa, Exodus, Gods and Kings, and she was in 2014's Rosewater, which is just a landmark of a film. But the fact, just all of these, they're going as, I guess, quote, legit, as close to character description as possible. When it's like, no, let's have actors and actresses that can play whatever parts. Like, no, let's just get these people in.
I love that. The longer Rooster Teeth is around as a company, the more inclusive they get in terms of representation for people of color and for people across the spectrum. Like, I love that they reached out to a non-binary actor for Genlock, and I love that when they're casting people of color, they're like, hey, we should get people of color to do the voices.
We have an Iranian character. Let's get an Iranian actress.
That's so great.
Would you like to voice your animated double? Yes.
That's one of the most important priorities now to have, I think, as a company. So it's great to see it coming out of Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
It's so easy, and yet so few people do it.
Dear Hollywood, learn.
So I'm just so proud of our boys and girls at Rooster Teeth. It's
How
so
dare
great.
you, Cam Griffin? Soon we'll get Paul Rudd in Strangerhood 3. No stranger.
Given that Miles Luna
idea.
described making Strangerhood 2 as reviving the desiccated corpse of Strangerhood, I don't think we're getting a 3.
Mark, what is your idea?
I can't say it.
You can.
No, I can't. I have to wait. Because I have to check and see if we can actually do it.
Oh, Lord. Oh, boy.
Keep us in
Here we
suspense.
go.
This is so exciting.
So here's an announcement. We're not doing RWBY. We're just going to go back and do Strangerhood. Even when Genlock starts, Strangerhood Season 2.
We have priorities too
We do.
here.
And we have standards. And those standards are Strangerhood. Strangerhood.
Those are not high standards.
That's why I was doing this.
We went back in time and did Panic, so
Goodness gracious. Man, let's not talk about Strangerhood anymore. The only other pieces of news that we got about Genlock were that DC Entertainment is going to be publishing comics for both RWBY and Genlock. And because we're sort of littered with various RWBY printed content, we've got this and we had the other manga that we reviewed last year already?
yeah,
Jesus
it was
Christ. Yeah, we
earlier
did.
this year.
It was either right after the volume or right before the volume. Either flip a dip, man.
Oh my goodness!
Regardless, I would like to say thank you to our friends at Viz who have provided several of these copies and the pre-release of the Blake volume for our giveaway, whose winner we will announce in a little bit.
And we're all going to turbo read before we send it off, but...
And they've also confirmed that there's a new RWBY manga coming to Weekly Shonen Jump. It'll be authored by Bunta Kinami. It's coming to Shonen Jump later this year, and it is different from the manga that's going to be, from the comics that'll be at DC.
And from I remember hearing at RTX, it's going to be kind of a retelling of the volumes that we've already seen in print form, and a little bit more of an elevated manga style, sort of like one of the the action-based ones in Volume 1. But the fact that a female-led show is going into Shonen Jump is a huge leap, and not since oh god, why am I forgetting it? Maka and the Soul Eater. Yeah, where it's like boom, female protagonist right on the front.
Also starring a girl with a scythe.
Yeah.
So is that the key
Bum,
hiding in?
bum, bum.
You have a main character with a scythe, and then you're in.
If that's all it takes to get a female-led a story in Shonen Jump, guys, we got to start coming up with some pitches.
Ooh, that's a good point.
So who's Lord Death in RWBY?
Osmond.
Fair. All right.
I was gonna.
So we know that we've seen what we're going to talk a little bit more about RWBY offers in a manga sense. We know that we're getting them in Shonen Jump, but what do we get for Genlock from DC? So it's a completely different style than a manga style. The American action comic sort of a thing is different. Katie, do you have any ideas?
All I know is I want them to hire Gail Simone in some capacity to work on it. Like, just kind of peg that on the wish list.
I mean, it's been working out so far with Genlock. They can kind of go, whatever.
Yeah.
Can we just have everybody? Can you just put the likeness of Grant Gustin somewhere in there? Like, sure, just on the wall. Like, Chase loves watching Flash, or some, like, it's his favorite show from 40 years ago. But are we getting, like, common superhero? Is this a prequel? Is this a retelling? We don't know the story.
I'd also love side stories.
Stories. Do you have any ideas, Stacey?
Maybe, so it seems like Genlock is more based in the whole epic, world-clashing, big deal kind of heroics. Maybe something to show, like, what else is going on in this world. Maybe more down-on-the-ground kind of stories.
Did anybody ever read the Pacific Rim comics?
Yeah,
that
Tales
came out?
from Year Zero.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm sort of envisioning. I figure the main series is going to focus on that big world conflict, and that maybe the comics that we get from DC are going to be the origin of said war.
I would say the origins of the pilots.
Ooh.
And that's what I'm thinking is we get the origins of each of the pilots, and I would want a step further of it sort of acknowledging their background and being each being a different sort of style that acknowledges the type of person that they are. Like with Val, we get a lot more blacks and a lot more inkiness and a lot more of a noir-y sort of vibe of her on like some, or of them on some sort of a mission before they get the call to the Genlock program or something like that. But it
something that fits their characterization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An art style that reflects the people that we will become familiar with when the show comes out, January 26, 2019.
Oh, we're so close.
We're so close. We're so far away, but we're so close. Like, we have a date. This is the Kingdom Hearts fan and me going, we have a date. We have a date. We have a date. Cling to it.
Cling to, yep.
That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, God, the Kingdom Hearts date is 3 days after the Genlock date. Guys, I'm going to die in January.
No,
Rough week.
the body
Could be a great week, but I will be a puddle on the floor.
You have enough time to not sleep or eat or drink or any of that to hopefully get at least 50% through the game. Hopefully. But then take your nap and then get through the next 50% and then watch Genlock on your break and then we go back from there.
I mean, my initial plan was to take a week off of work just to do Kingdom Hearts, and then, well, plans change. But we'll see.
I have a legitimate concern of the workforce the week that Kingdom Hearts comes out.
There's not going to be very many people at work.
People took off for Assassin's Creed. They took off for Black Ops. They took off for Smash. They're going to take off for Smash. Like,
this
come
is
on.
huge. This is
I know.
This is a several generations of people finally going, oh, that one game that I want is out. Servers are gonna crash. Like we're talking about this is the real Y2K. Y2 Kingdom Hearts. That's what was predicted by Nostradamus.
I've done my waiting, 13 years of it in the realm of darkness.
No one's gonna get in my way. I'm gonna kill him.
So, just since we're talking about video games and we were talking about the Genlock comics, guys, we know that Rooster Teeth has done video game content for RWBY.
And there's more coming.
Are we gonna get video games for Genlock where we get to play as fighting robots that fight each other?
You know what I really want in terms of Rooster Teeth games? I want a like Marvel vs. Capcom style beat 'em up where you just with all of their properties.
X-Ray, Vav, Mogar, Caboose, Andy, Nomad. Just that was
Everyone.
So now the one thing that I do remember
The Mad King
from
who can
talking
summon
to
Edgar.
It's just raining Edgars, hallelujah.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I remember talking to Michael Hadwin from Rooster Teeth Games, which was a bald-faced lie, was that they were like RWBY Grim Eclipse was gonna sort of take a backseat and they were gonna focus on some original content. And then the next year we found out there's gonna be more RWBY Grim Eclipse content. So I have no idea what to expect from Rooster Teeth Games. Plans seem to change on what properties are hot. I don't think we would hear about an interactive for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I think this is like way down the line.
Like-
And licensing red versus blue characters is, as always, a nightmare.
Just do them in plain clothes, not in armor.
Yeah,
But-
the helmets and then like the guns for hire outfits.
Something like, well, you can sneak by that with the
Felix and
yes,
yes.
the why can I not think of their
The Mercs.
The Mercs. We get our three favorite Mercs, and we go from there. Hi, Stacey. But
How you doing?
There's a lot of energy. I'm enjoying it.
but actually,
Popcorn.gif.
we're gonna sort of pivot here while we're talking about games. Today, or this week, for some regions and some types of phones, and tomorrow and Friday, RWBY Amity Arena is going to be launching on mobile. And holy crap, is it a fun game? And I'm not just saying that because they gave me early access, but I legitimately find myself getting lost in it, losing track of the time, and getting like the notification, oh, hey, by the way, your battery's about to die. You should probably plug that in. And not that it drained my battery, but I just lost track of time. So I highly recommend if when I talked to them in the interviews on this channel, they said we're going to try to get every RWBY character into this game. Everybody.
I'm gonna play as the shopkeeper.
He's going to be in there, and he's probably going to be an epic drop. He's going to be a legendary character.
And everyone's gonna go for it. Like,
Yeah.
do anything.
His special move is he clones himself and swarms the battlefield.
Oh, they have
so.
like little Death Stalkers that spawn in packs of 12. But just shopkeep. And hey, give me back my diamonds or whatever. Sorry.
Also, Death Stalkers that swarm in packs of 12 is just a nightmare.
That was my band name back in high school. But
I was going to say, and also the name of my Flock of Seagulls cover band.
I was just thinking that like how great it would be to play as characters that we haven't seen in the series for a while. Like Team Funky would be a lot of fun to play.
they just released a new neon tie-dye shirt in the store, and I was like, how would you do that? I know we're going to that area, but will we ever see the rest of Team Funky or any aspect of Team Funky?
Do they exist?
Are they still alive? Did they survive the snap?
I mean,
Oh no!
Hold on, this is getting a lot more complicated.
so the reality gauntlet affects multiverses,
Yes.
and
Oh no!
Take that and put that in your pipe.
that's why you haven't seen your favorite characters in RWBY this season.
Oh.
They're all gonna die.
They turn to dust. Wait.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Explosive elemental stuff. We don't have to read in front of us, but hey, subscribe to our channel and subscribe to other channels and leave comments, and because it helps the producers know that these shows are popular and you want to keep us around. So please comment on all of the stuff that you deem worthy, all of the stuff that you enjoy. We've got Voltron on this channel, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia is wrapping up pretty soon, and go back previous episodes. If you're joining us recently, go back, comment on previous episodes. I just went back to the first time we had Eddie on and responded to comments, and just because whatever. We do that. Help support us by supporting the network that puts us on the air. Subscribe to us here. Subscribe to us everywhere. Thank you to AfterBuzz TV.
And you don't have to worry about notifications, but we do recommend them because they tell you when we go live.
Yup.
There are lots of fun channels for all the types of genres that you like. Sci-fi, horror, all those can be found on the same channel as like the superhero-oriented comment.
Professional wrestling. Ooh. I do.
Zombies.
What? Is there AfterBuzz TV Zombies?
Z Nation.
We're on the sci-fi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's AfterBuzz Wrestling and Sports.
You guys will see some
sorry.
familiar faces if you do.
It's them. You already said it, like you buried the lead like 10 seconds before. Oh, all right.
Anyway, support everything.
So we were pivoting. We were talking about RWBY, and now let's into one of our next discussion topics: the RWBY manga. This is and we've got all three here, including a special look at the Blake one.
Look how pretty it is.
It's taunting us. Now,
Thank you to our friends at Viz.
Viz, we love you. You collected a bunch of artists, a lot of varying styles in here, a lot of differing. Okay, let me just say, if you ship, I don't even know the ship name.
White
but
Rose.
Right, if you ship White, thank you.
Love this.
I'm half proud, half disappointed. I'm proud disappointed. But if you ship White Rose, this is the volume for you. Oh my God!
Okay, yes.
Holy
It's not
daylight.
just me. It's so heavy-handed.
It really is. I mean, there's a good chunk of it in the Weiss manga too, but holy
Not
actual.
as heavy.
Nearly
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's faces were red like roses when they were reading some of these
I
chapters.
don't know what they told the individual artists, when they're like, oh yeah, you've got free reign to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know what they told them, but it's amazing how an entire volume of artists working independently all went, and they all smiled and they all leaned into the exact same ship. How did that happen?
So,
It's almost like it's a popular ship.
all right, so Viz, you said that you're giving us X, Y, Z. Can we do 3 X's instead? Okay.
I mean, it still needs to be
CC
safe
all.
for work. And
CC all.
Please and thank you.
All right, so it's
Melachroma says Eastern RWBY fans really like White Rose if the Pixiv fan arts are any indication.
That
this is a
makes sense,
family-friendly program. We're not anyway. So we're not going to break down each. We got 2 volumes to talk about. We're not going to break down each individual chapter, but we're gonna. I split it up like this. Which chapter in here, which story in here, did you think was closest to Ruby's character? Who wants to go first?
I thought that little interim we had with her and Weiss during that first mission, which explained how they got on the Nevermore in the show.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that little, God, what do they call those? They're not hidden moments. They're lost moments. I don't remember what the term is.
Interstitials?
Not quite.
That is Why I'm
Anyway.
Here by Kuma. Is
Thank
the one that
you.
you're referring to.
Yes, that I thought that one was very true to character. I like it when they fill in those little hidden moments might be it, when they fill in those little moments that we don't get to see in the show. And that was done very well.
Yeah, I did think that one slotted really nicely in with where we would be in canon too.
Yeah.
Cookies.
I was along with you. Chocolate chip cookies by Amayo seemed like the most RWBY of a fun activity that to get all of the team together and consequently the one in the Weiss manga is very silly, but
I really also appreciate it because RWBY doesn't in the show proper. RWBY doesn't talk about her mom very often at all. So it's nice to sort of step into her mind a little bit where she just sort of thinks about her, and we don't get really any information that we didn't already have, but for obviously her mom was a huge presence in her life who's now gone, and RWBY has to carry that grief around with her. But again, it's not really something she super acknowledges in the show itself. So it's nice to just step into her headspace as she's thinking of her mom for a little bit.
agreed.
Yeah, without it being overly melodramatic.
Yeah, and it was a nice fun moment with the team. What was everybody's favorite piece in general?
The Weiss cookies one.
I mean, per
from that one.
Yeah, we're going per
I
manga.
mean, same.
yeah, the cookies one.
That at the hidden moments one.
Okay, the Nevermore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Style-wise, the cookies one was my favorite. As far as how it was drawn, it was so cute.
It was cute.
It was so cute.
I can't help but gravitate to the ones at the end of the book. The No Doubt, which is just the weird.
They're just like tiny
The weird. It's like it's 4 panels, 4 vertical panels, and they're so weird. They're just bizarre.
Welcome to the world of 4 coma.
But it's just it's deformed. It's great. But you get exactly what the character is in those 4 panels, and even in single panels, you're like, yeah. Even just with Torchwick struggling to look RWBY in one, you're like, yeah, that's their relationship instantly.
Yep.
It's beautiful. Weird way to put it that way.
Probably. Cookies is high up there, but I also really like whenever Ruby decides she's like, I'm gonna fight Carden. That sounds like a good time.
Yes.
The shippiest one of all, the just trying to help, was like, don't make fun of her scar again or I'll kill you.
Okay, Ruby.
Yeah, that. Oh boy.
Another one I really enjoyed was another kind of hidden moment one, I guess, with Ruby and Jean fighting.
Yeah.
And kind of just looking into their resolve. I thought that was a really nice, very in character kind of.
A lot of Carden in these, in both volumes, just because that was the biggest villain we had in season one.
He's a toothless antagonist. You can kind of play with him on the soft skills side of things without having massive, horrifying consequences.
Unless he launches someone out a window, which I guess we'll talk about in a little bit.
That was a thing.
But it's also, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
I was just gonna say it's also nice just to see these additional interactions with Penny. So it's always so nice.
One of my least favorite, which ended up the result of which ended up being a little bit nicer than the entire point of it, was Ruby waking up and going, "I want a boyfriend." I've been reading all these light novels. I want a boyfriend. The only thing that I think to come out of it, which probably isn't canon, is that Scarlet David's gay.
Yep. Yeah, that little scene with Team Sun was the best part of that whole.
You guys are hot and useless and my friends. Find me a boy.
Find me someone.
That one more than anything felt, I think, the most out of character for Ruby.
Yeah.
Because she just seems to have so little interest in dating, especially for such arbitrary reasons. But it did remind me a lot. That one in particular reminded me a lot of. Did you guys ever watch the original Tenchi Muyo? Because there was an episode where several of the girls were introduced to shoujo comics, and then they spent the rest of the episode trying to artificially create shoujo meet cute scenarios.
In a shoujo anime.
I mean, technically it's a harem anime, so
That's true.
but I thought it was, that was before I knew what a harem anime was, so Tenchi Muyo is the only one that gets a pass.
Tenchi Muyo is everyone's baby's first harem anime. Let's be real.
Innocently, I think everybody they don't, at least from our generation, we don't like to call them harem animes. We're like, oh, you know, like Tenchi Muyo. Because that's somehow more innocent.
And then you have this moment of, oh, Tenchi Muyo is a harem anime, and then you kind of recontextualize it with everything else you know about harem anime and go,
Changes things.
Damn it.
Well,
Before we move on, what was the from the RWBY manga? Was there anything that anybody thought would be a great episode of Chibi?
the Beacon's Midnight Ghost Story. Nora covered in syrup.
I mean,
That's pretty straightforward.
Chibi's sort of already done it, but like the superhero suits.
Yeah,
Oh,
and there
that
was
was good.
X-ray glasses on Yang, which is a nice touch. Katie, do you have one?
I did just both of those actually.
I thought RWBY wanting to grow her hair out longer, and it being snakes.
Yes. That was also great.
That made chibi sense. So let's move on to the Weiss manga. What were some of everybody's favorites here? Art style, most like the show, closest to Weiss.
Both for the RWBY and the Weiss manga, my favorite artist. Maybe it's a cop out to say, but Mojo Joe. Mostly because it's so good that they actually take that artwork and made it official in terms of doing the character designs for Chibi. So maybe it's, like I said, a little bit of a cop-out to say that their work is my favorite in both of these volumes. But yeah, I just love her style so much. It's so pretty.
I particularly like the one where she was waiting for winter. Like, all right, I'm going to meet my sister. I put my hair up in a new style. It's just like hers. Oh, she's not coming. Oh, she is coming. Just I'm a little moments kind of person, you know?
Mine was another one with winter, was the moon. That was my favorite art style and my favorite little story.
Yeah.
Thought that was a really nice moment.
I was a big fan of The Princess, which is the first one that we got in the volume, because it gave us, it illuminated more of various character moments between that. It similarly, it fills in those blanks that we got from the last volume as well. Some of the styles in here are they're similar, but they tend to play a little bit more to the story. They tend to be a little bit more dramatic or a little bit softer or whatever. Snow White's Dream reincorporating the short as a constant nightmare and something that she gets to work through with the team is it's nice.
I think my favorite is Who is the Ice Queen Meeting? And it's basically taking that same premise of, oh, this person has a boyfriend, or oh, this person wants a boyfriend, and it's twisting it in a way that doesn't completely change the character. It's everybody else assuming, oh, she must be dating somebody, and that's because it's out of character for her to be going out at night like this. So I much preferred that one if we're juxtapositioning it with the RWBY going, I want a boyfriend now.
Well, I think that the one to compare that to is the I want a better figure.
That bothered the hell out of me. Like, I got to that one and went, all right, someone has priorities.
They can't all be winners.
No, they can't. But I'd rather some of them be unwinners rather than straight up losers.
Same creator.
Are we surprised?
I went through to double check it.
10 to 1 odds. There's a Blake story like that from the same creator. I haven't actually read the Blake manga yet, so because it's pre-release and shiny and yay.
We have some time.
10 to 1 odds that there's a similar story from the same creator.
Also creeped out by when Mercury just showed up and danced with RWBY, but that's beside the point. We're past that one.
That was.
I really did enjoy the cookies one in the Weiss volume. That definitely feels like an episode
That's
of
a chibi.
Chibi that I need in my life.
Absolutely.
That was hysterical.
An interstitial chibi, and the only short. So I'm reading these in the middle of the night. It's like 1:32 in the morning, and there was only one panel that made me laugh out loud to a point where I thought we could get evicted. And it was Beacon Days. It's in the middle of the book. It's by Mojo Joj, and it's Hard Worker. And it's where RWBY catches her studying something, and the punchline is her holding a joke book. 101 ways to crack up your friends, and I'm like, that's why she tries to hide. She's trying to be human, and she just can't. No, it's just a joke book. Whatever.
My mind immediately went to volume 2, and she's like, looks like the plans fell apart, and
everyone just kind of
no.
I mean,
tried.
It's the volume 2 outfits, so it's like this is just before that mission. Oh God.
She was probably practicing that one.
Yeah.
She's like, I've been studying for this.
She had
all
a
right,
bunch
there
that
might
she'd
be a
pull out.
giant robot. Let's look up robot jokes. Don't be mechanical. Oh, that's a good one.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She's like, self 5.
Any final thoughts on the Weiss one?
I think thematically the Weiss one was really interesting because they did deal with a lot of very similar themes and very, very Weiss things that we've had to deal with over the past few volumes. And so just watching that struggle between opening up and, accepting her friends and then seeing them constantly just push through the boundaries and ignore all of these walls anyways. Made for some fun stories.
I always appreciate, the thing about Weiss that I appreciate the most is her admiration for her older sister, but also this desire to be her own person, and break away from what her family wants her to be. And so kind of seeing her, again, kind of go back to these early days of like still figuring that out and figuring out where she falls on that spectrum of wanting to be like her sister, but also wanting to be her own person. Those are always stories that sort of resonate with me.
Yeah, I liked the one where she stays home sick, and because we get a glimpse of her at home with that, and you can it was subtle to where dad doesn't have to stay home, but when Winter became that person that would stay home and stay with her, and then in the second visit where you see Winter coming back, you can see that sort of shift from Winter's the person that I really care about in the family.
And this was also before we knew that Mom was still alive and Whitley exists.
I mean, he's in like one of the.
He's in one of the panels. He's just there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Featuring Whitley.
Is he playing Parcheesi with himself?
I mean, he's looking considerably less evil than the last time.
I mean,
Not a high bar.
Can you ever truly tell with Whitley? What a D-bag. When do you have the exact date of when the Blake one comes out? It's in November.
I No.
Okay, so
Off the top of my head,
Volume
no.
3
it's
of the
later.
Volume 3 of the Viz RWBY anthology manga featuring Blake comes out in November. So make sure to pick it up. I would say, and not just because they're friends of the program, but I would say that these are essential reading when it comes to RWBY fandom. They're not that expensive. USA $13, UK 9p, and $18 Canadian. It's not. I got off of Amazon $10. You know, it's great reading. There are going to be a couple of rough ones in there, but especially with Weiss, there's a lot of moments that I think help inform her character and the person that we see on screen.
Yeah. Like, not everything in an anthology is a winner, but these are more winner than anything else. Like, I really appreciate these.
Again, if you like White Rose, the RWBY
RWBY one.
Wow.
And we, even though we haven't read the Blake one, there's a great moment between Blake and Weiss in this one, and that was a little. I mean, I don't know.
It was a little odd, but but at the same time,
I can't believe how soft and warm your ears are.
It's just one of those moments of, all right, now we know what the writer is into.
Who wrote this?
It's like, is this a prelude to a much longer, lewder comic?
I mean, probably.
Thank you, Miraculous Core Zone. November 20th is when that drops. Make sure to pick it up when you get there. Thanks to the fine folks at Viz, and
But one fan's going to get it early.
they getting it early.
So on Twitter, we asked you for your favorite Blake moments. We asked you to tell us what you love about our favorite Faunus, and we asked you to use the hashtag RTR giveaway, and we decided the result of the giveaway earlier, and by decided, I mean went as random as we possibly could. Cam Griffin, you are once again
All
our
right, Cam Griffin. See what happens when you're a dedicated listener. You get stuff.
And for those of you in the chat going, oh, I really want the Blake manga. Guys, we announced the contest last week. You had 7 calendar days to do it.
And if you do pick it up, let them know that the Rooster team sent you there.
Absolutely.
Integration.
So yeah, Cam, DM me. We'll get this figured out. We'll throw it in the mail.
Well,
It'll happen.
But before we go, we're going to talk to you about High Stakes Monopoly. One of the biggest shows that debuted at RTX that we were real high on. We were talking about as we were walking away, the way that they teased us with not being able to see the second episode right away. Achievement Hunters Hardcore Tabletop. Indescribable. It's a game show, but it's gambling. It's like World Series of Poker, but with your friends. It's so bizarre.
It's Monopoly LARPing.
Malarpily.
Wouldn't it be like, if you go with the Monopoly naming conventions, wouldn't it be LARPopoly?
Well, sure. And I mean, Jeff technically did dress up as the Monopoly man with that stupid mustache, and God bless him for it. But for those of you who are unaware, it was real stakes Monopoly. They took the actual bank that Monopoly provides you and took that fake money and turned it into real money. $20,580 were on the table, and whoever won the game left with that amount of money. They started with $1,500. It was off to the races. And before we talk too much strategy, I just wanted to put a fun fact out there. Did you know that 7 is the most common number combination to land on a pair of dice?
I have literally never heard that before.
Ever?
Amazing.
Have you never played craps?
Fun
That's
facts.
what craps is built on.
Unbelievable.
We're here
Also-
providing all of the facts.
Who even told you that?
Where did you even hear that?
I picked it up from a friend. But
I love that they yes-anded the hell out of that.
by the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
So at the top of it, we got to see the first episode. So it was introduced to us, and then we got to see it. So we were lucky enough to sort of come in with an initial vibe. From the first episode, was there a player that you were pushing for, Katie?
I mean Ryan, but just it's always fun to push for Ryan because he just doesn't do well. It's one of those ridiculous things. And I've been watching a lot of their Mario Party plays and realizing, oh yeah, no, in terms of playing large group games, I have a favorite because he just doesn't do well, and I feel better about my life.
He said if luck was a factor, I'm going to lose. Like, he knows that if it's about luck, he just doesn't have it. Or he doesn't have it at board games, he has it at other places in his life. Who are you pulling for?
I just think Alfredo's hilarious. That's why I was in his corner from early on in the show.
Yeah.
For me, I kind of went back and forth a little bit. Like, when somebody's going through some bad luck, I pull for the underdog. But then, I really loved, when it looked like one person was on top, how everybody sort of came together to try to take that person down.
Jack.
Just Jack.
Just Jack. Always Jack.
But then when he started losing, I started pulling for him again. So I'm very much like going with the narrative of the show. But for me, I always empathize with the person who's like, I don't have a plan. I don't know how this game works. I'm just doing things because I think it would be funny. And so Michael is who I was pulling for at first.
I thought you were going to say Jeremy.
I thought you were going to say Elise.
She was my favorite part about the show.
MVP.
As not a troll in chat says, we're all always rooting for Elise.
Oh,
Like-
she won the game without even being a player.
Anytime she shows up, well, does amazing work with Funhouse, but she is Achievement Hunter's favorite member of Funhouse, to the point where they got her on an Achievement Hunter show and was like, whatever, we just want Elise, everybody else can stay home. And my favorite moment of her, well, there's two favorite moments of mine with her. One where they're like, can we get a ruling? What's the ruling? And she just wanders up and goes, what's going on?
That was the thing, is that Jack, I think it was, expressed his concern that Lindsay, acting as the bailiff, was going to leave someone in jail and then wander off. And then fast forward to that moment, Elise was the one that wandered off and stopped paying attention.
But my second favorite was their favoritism of Alfredo. Just like, oh no, he let it go, he gets $200. He's like, all right,
You have to pass go.
you have to pass go. But a little sweetness over there. He gets
rules.
200. That's what it says right here. Sorry.
Elise and Lindsay Power Hour was my favorite.
They had a show. Lindsay had a show called The Chaos Corner that they were testing out, and one of the first episodes with Elise, highly recommended. It's on the Achievement Hunter channel. Go, please, for the love of God. Well, we've kind of determined that Ryan is the unluckiest player. Who does that leave for the luckiest player?
Alfredo.
I mean, yeah, he
Yeah.
caught some crazy luck towards the end there.
I would also say, in terms of just how did you survive this long? Jeremy. How?
Oh, that's right. I didn't mention Jeremy was the person after the first episode that I was pulling for.
Yeah.
Little Jay.
I have to concur
No
with
properties.
you. Yeah, that in terms of unlucky, I actually think he was unluckier than Ryan, even though Ryan was the first person out.
And his name was on more properties that he never got.
yeah.
Garage.
That was the most landed on space.
So frequently.
I didn't have to go back and rewatch the series because it was one or two times per episode, at least, of the stuff that they showed us. And oh my God, but I'm gonna beat you to it, not a roll. We're gonna talk about jail and how effective jail was, how it became such a strategy at the end of the game. But before we do, I did a little bit of research, and I just wanted to share with everybody. It turns out that the most common number combination on any given pair of dice is 7. I did that research all by I just rolled a whole bunch. I've been rolling characters for D&D, and it's just I've been rolling pairs of dice, and I've been hitting 7 more frequently.
Why are you rolling pairs of D6s for characters in D&D?
The joke.
You roll 3, drop 1.
Specifically for the joke.
Mark,
I will never let you
you're
get
a
away with it.
liar. There's no way that's true.
Well, we'll never figure it out. Time will tell.
Also, that means your highest stat would be 12 and your dump stats would be 2s, and that's like a negative.
Pew, 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 pew. Anyway, hey, rules of comedy. We'll be back to that one in a second. But the jail became such a deciding. I mean, I didn't play Monopoly that much as a kid, but I don't remember it becoming that important to a game.
None of us ever got that far.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen it in terms of like a game setup where people were actually going, send me to jail, send me to jail, send me
Trying
to
to
jail.
roll for jail. That boggled my mind.
Roll for jail. I'm like, I thought, what?
And the weird relationship that came from Alfredo being Michael's lawyer and vice versa. Just whatever, man.
What I love is that Monopoly, way back when, was originally created to be like, here are the evils of capitalism in a form that even children can understand. And of course, the original creator got hosed and a half by Parker Brothers, and that's, capitalism. I never really realized how accurate that was until we watched this and saw late in the game, you want to keep your money? You go to jail and you run your enterprise from jail. Like, oh my God, they're in rich person jail. They get snacks. The bailiff is nice to them. Nothing matters.
I mean, it depends on who's in jail.
Again, rich person jail.
Societal jail. But it was interesting. It was the biggest strategy, I think, for Jack, because when he would be let out, he would be in a wide avenue full of all of his properties. He had no worries. But the times when a Michael or an Alfredo would roll a 10 or just like community chest or whatever it was and get through it, we were yelling at our TV. It was ridiculous. I can say with all legitimacy that I said very passionately under my breath, "Come on, Sauce." Many times under my breath, because this show was so dynamic and added such a different thing to it. And we'll spoil it because F it, what the hell. Alfredo came out on top. He ended up winning $5,269.
Nice.
Dollars.
You were waiting for that, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I put it in the notes too.
Been here before.
And we were just talking about shipping. But one of the things that I thought if Jack was going to win, he was just going to say, "I'm donating this to Extra Life. This is the first donation that I'm making to Extra Life." But they said, no, Rooster Teeth is going to make a donation on top of that in your name for a charity of your choice, which made that even sweeter. Which is a nice thing. Alfredo gets a little bit of an extra payday, a bonus, and the charity gets a nice kick.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah, it's like 4 months' rent.
I mean, in Austin, it's about
More
the same.
than that?
Yeah, it's about the same as it is here. The last thing that we're going to do before we leave is really quickly round the table. What is the next hardcore game that we're getting?
Settlers of Catan.
Well, let's play Life.
Oh,
Okay.
God!
Oh, God.
Oh,
and it's going
God.
to take 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
Actually driving cars around out in the lot, throwing people in and out.
This is the thing I want to see.
Candyland!
Oh, God. And my answer, Chutes and Ladders. Because that's terrifying. Just going to be, it's been all day and we're going down another fucking
They
slide.
have a little play slide.
And it's just a big setup like Wipeout.
A vertical build.
Yeah, but it's Chutes and Ladders. Or maybe
Yes.
like a diagonal build.
God bless
okay.
America. I want all of these.
That's what we have. That's all we have time for. Next week is going to be a special presentation. It's going to be Halloween, so we're going to be talking all about Bloodfest. So make sure to pick it up. We're going to be talking all about it right here on Rooster Teeth Reviews. But before we go, Katie, where can the folks find you?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet, that is Kiaxet. If you like reaction videos to Rooster Teeth content, they live on that YouTube channel. Also, we're doing a special episode of Voltron literally right after this, so stick around.
Stacey.
Hey guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me all over the web at Stacey Shuttles. You can also find me over at twitch.tv at InventoryFullPT. We have a lot of really exciting things to stream. There are a lot of games coming out. If you like My Hero, One's Justice comes out at the end of this week, and we're going to be playing a lot of that.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a big marathon on Friday.
I want
Yeah,
to
we
play.
are.
That sounds awesome. I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
That was a lot quicker than I expected.
She has a podcast called No Love Lost.
Something that well, you can follow me at Mark Donica. Party of Two is a theme park podcast that my wife and I do. We did a great episode this past Tuesday where we talked about Halloween attractions that don't have Halloween overlays that deserve them. There's a really obvious answer that I didn't. I'm so surprised they haven't done it yet. You can follow all of us here. You can follow us at the Rooster Team, tpublic.com/roosterteam. And before we go, something I realized is that, did you know that the most common roll on a pair of dice is 7? That's all that we have time for. We'll see you next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.